All right. Tyler, what is your name?
You just said it. It's Tyler Paul Wintringham.
That's what, okay. Wintringham. That's a very pretty name.
It is. It almost has this, like, regal British feel to it. I always want to say it with this, like, British inflection. Like, Wintringhamana. Sort of.
Yeah, I feel it. What is it? Is it British? What is your nationality?
I have no idea. It's white, homogenous.
Yeah, waspy.
Probably.
All right, how old are you?
I am 25.
And where are you from?
I am from Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Would you ever move back there?
I don't think so. It has its appeal. It is close to the beach. There's lots of ponds. There are like nice stretches of woods, and like it can be very pretty there. But I don't think it's not a place that I feel all that welcome anymore. I've moved on from that place. Also, you need a car to get anywhere, which is rather annoying.
Yeah.
Like it takes half an hour to drive from one side of Plymouth to the other. It's one of the largest towns in New England.
You've been cityfied.
I have.
How long have you been in Cambridge?
I moved here with my best friend Joseph, who lived in Plymouth with me. I grew up with him. We moved here in 2014, September of 2014. And
when you were a kid, was Cambridge or Boston, did you always feel like, I gotta get there?
Oh yeah, all the time. Joseph and I would take excursions up. We'd just hop on a train occasionally, sometimes without our parents' knowledge. We'd take our bikes up to Boston, or we'd just kind of go explore the city, go to Faneuil Hall, and like just hang out. Boston was always a place that we would strive to get to and like get away from our town. Like, oh, we can go like as far as Boston. Like we were always trying to plan these trips. Like, how far can we get away from Plymouth in a single day? Generally, we just ended up in Boston a lot.
And now that you're in Boston, are you striving for another place at all?
Oh yes, I am striving to just leave the country.
Okay. Do you have one in mind?
Yes. I have thoroughly been romanticizing the Scandinavian countries, Denmark specifically. Copenhagen just has been calling me.
Is it because of the state of America now, or do you just feel like that's a unique calling for yourself? Is it in reaction to the state of America?
A little of both.
Okay.
I think in reality, I will end up on the West Coast. My friends who also live in Vermont, who now live on the West Coast, say that it's very similar. The people there are very nice and not cold like Boston folk are or can be.
Yeah.
Do
you consider yourself cold like Boston folk can be?
I think
you are
Boston,
a native son.
I am a native Boston. I think it has rubbed off on me a little bit. I am definitely... I consider myself a recluse. I don't get out often. I don't associate with many people. And I am just a quiet person and I keep to myself. However, I try very hard not to take that out on like other people, or like I try to be open and inviting.
You mean like the customers at the 1369 coffee house?
Yeah, no, I when I am there, it's not so much an act, but I'm definitely playing up my ability to like talk to people and like try to be friendly. I mean, I know like I'm there to socialize and to make other people feel welcome.
Right.
And that's a part of the job, is to make this that third space, make people feel like they can be there and not be judged or harassed. I mean, that takes very little effort, but
A simple hello and a thank you is pretty much all you need. Listen, you did go to college and you graduated and you have a degree in graphic arts. Have you ever had a job in your chosen field?
I have. I freelanced for a while, but then I also had a job at a company in like the South Boston area. I did social media design and marketing for them. It was a temporary job, but it was okay. It was office grunt work. There was so much micromanagement that was happening there, and it was weighing down on my creativity a lot, and I was just feeling like I couldn't express myself. I felt very suppressed, and I felt I didn't really feel like I belonged, honestly. Being at a coffee shop allows me that freedom and creativity. I'm not fastened to this 9 to 5.
Do you find a lot of people like yourself at the coffee shop? People you can relate to, or? Yeah,
totally. Most everyone there is either a musician or an artist of some degree.
And your side life project is Food Not Bombs.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the first organization that you ever volunteered for or became a part of?
Oh, very much so.
Do tell me, how'd you find Food Not Bombs?
So back in 2001, when I was in the military station in San Diego, I'd go to a lot of punk shows, and I saw kids with Food Not Bombs patches and buttons and asked them about it, and that was it. Started working with them occasionally out there.
Punk shows. So how big is this Food Not Bombs in the punk scene?
Oh, it definitely gets a lot of its members come from the punk scene. Food Not Bombs is the type of activism that tends to attract disaffected youth, shall we say.
Okay.
Looking for direction. Unhappy with, working with churches, unhappy with working with governmental organizations because they see the injustice perpetrated by them and then see the barely palliative effects of their relief efforts. So something like this, like-minded people, we can sit around and listen to this music.
It's a very different kind of cooking because you have to work with what you have and what you're donated, so you have to figure things out along the way.
Yeah, where do you guys get the food? Do you shell out?
Food Links right now from Arlington, they do a lot of food recovery. Recovery from grocery stores, co-ops, that kind of stuff, where the food is about to be thrown away. And they go to they recover a lot of this food and then donate it to groups like us and homeless shelters and churches. Anybody who's devoted to eliminating food waste and serving people, homeless people, just really anybody. We believe it is part of the central ethos of the group that food is a right, not a privilege. So there are those out there who can't cook for themselves because they don't have a kitchen, even though they live somewhere. They don't have somewhere to live. They don't have the ability to get healthy food. Most homeless shelters and food relief programs, oftentimes you get pizza and Kool-Aid. So the idea is that we believe healthy food is a right, and it shouldn't be up to, especially as a sort of anarchist group, it shouldn't be up to the state to tell us whether or not we're allowed to feed each other.
But in Massachusetts, you are, unlike places like maybe I think it's Florida.
Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yeah?
Yes.
It's also illegal there?
We just went up and did a meal in Manchester, New Hampshire 2 weeks ago, and yes, it is illegal.
Did you guys get arrested?
We did not.
All right, and does anyone ever hassle you from the city?
So far, no. I mean, I think Food Not Bombs has a reputation in Boston. We've been around for 30 years. It originated in Boston. I think the cops are very well aware of Food Not Bombs, and they just kind of leave us alone.
Yeah, definitely. I want to read that at some point.
We've never had any issues.
And when I leave today, I'll be sure to go far away, 'cause I don't want to see you here with someone new. 'Cause if I see you, I won't know what to say. I thought I had all the answers to keep me here today. And if I see you, I won't know what to say. I thought I had all the answers to keep me here today.
Name again?
Keith McHenry.
Keith McHenry.
He worked at a grocery store, and he used to take a bunch of like the produce that was going to get thrown away and donate it to like homeless shelters and whatnot. And so one day he threw a bake sale dressed as generals, as like military officers, and sort of as a way to like point out the spending on military infrastructure rather than spending on food. So he had a bunch of activist friends who were doing like a sit-in vigil, I think, at Seabrook, New Hampshire. It's like a nuclear power plant to protest nuclear power. So they started the group Food Not Bombs to like prepare the food and then bring it up to feed the people who were doing the sit-in vigil so that they didn't have to leave. And it sort of grew out of that into just a general like a group that is generally protesting food waste, protesting food insecurity within our communities, and protesting a society that that spends as much money as we do on armaments rather than making sure that everyone has what they need to eat. Because, like I said, we believe food is a right, not a privilege, especially in a land of abundance.
So you guys spend almost every weekend feeding people who are hungry.
Yep. Anyone that wants to be fed, really. Anyone that is willing to have a free meal. But we primarily want to help the homeless and help those who are struggling in poverty.
Does it anger you that you guys, there's a need and you guys need to do this?
Not so much anger, but it's definitely something that is on our mind when we do this. I mean, ideally, we would like to live in a society that this isn't much of an issue and the homelessness is like taken care of like by our government, and we have more money allocated for the care of people who are like not in a good situation in their life,
or even deeper, that we didn't have homelessness.
Yeah, sure. Do
you just go one step at a time, one weekend at a time with it, or do you have some kind of forward-thinking plan?
Oh no, it's very free-form. We have weekly meetings. Every week we decide what we're gonna do for like the next meal. It's basically a planning meeting. It is one step at a time.
Is your involvement, do you feel like it's a moral or a political issue for you?
For me, it's a moral issue. For a lot of people, it is both. We don't have a leader. We just kind of operate in this collective.
And does that work for getting things done?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
I think it has helped me a lot to be directly involved and to be there, like serving like a bowl of food to someone who needs it and interacting with them on a human level and saying like, hey, we're not so different, like you and I. Even though like I am in a good place in my life, like I'm not gonna like turn my back on people who are still struggling.
What is the trending coffee drink?
Cup of coffee.
Serious? We're
Sure.
getting back to the basics.
Yeah,
Colombian
just basic
and
cup
a
of
cup of coffee.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Black coffee. Black as a moonless night at midnight.
And so in Inman Square, do you feel right at home?
I do. I have been there since December, and I feel so welcome there. And I feel home and invited, and I feel there's a lot of warmth within the staff that honestly, like I've never felt that before in a work environment. So it's a new experience for me, and it's a very powerful and driving like force and feeling that kind of is uplifting and makes me enjoy going there every day, because I know that the people that I work with are going to be supportive and friendly and fun and just create an exciting and just lovely atmosphere like every day. So
Tyler, you deserve it. You're a sweetheart. I love you. I love what you're doing for people, and I'm just really impressed.
oh, please.
'Cause